You have tuned in to watch Jonny Law. Don't be daft.
St. George and the Dragon is a legendary tale that has been handed down by generations and civilizations for almost a millennia. St. George is the patron saint of England, and the tale of George and the Dragon's roots run very deep and have been traced back to a Turkish province of the Roman Empire all the way back in the 11th century. And this tale has also been depicted upon the British sovereign ever since 1817. So, very historical. Very significant. But the question is, what happens to this bastion of folklore when it falls into the hands of Netflix, who have had an interesting history when it comes to history?
I remember my grandmother saying to me, I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra was black.
Okay.
Yes, so the question is, what on earth has Netflix been up to this time?
Put a ticket in, make her name again.
Okay, maybe not quite that, but not too far off. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Netflix's Damsel. And Damsel is the story of a young woman's marriage to a charming prince that turns into a fight for survival when she is offered up as a sacrifice to a fire-breathing dragon. Okay, well, when you put it like that, that actually sounds quite similar to the original. Maybe I was too quick to judge.
There are many stories of chivalry, where the heroic knight saves the damsel in distress.
Okay, I like where this is going. Please, tell me more.
This is not one of them.
Oh. But that actually sounded quite good.
This is not one of them.
Okay, sorry. But if I might be so bold, it doesn't make you particularly cool or edgy or groundbreaking to bravely challenge the damsel in distress stereotype. Might I remind you that Shrek came out in 2001. Anti-fairy tales, they've been done. And have been done for quite a while. If anything, it is more convention-defying at this point to have an actual damsel in distress, because after all, this is 2024, and we all know that women don't need no man. No, instead, they're just becoming them. Now, anyone who feels that the damsel in distress stereotype is tired at this point is probably either an employee at Sweet Baby Inc., or they're just not worth talking to. Usually both. And that is because that this quote-unquote trope speaks timelessly to men. It is distilled, liquid masculinity. We want adventure. We want responsibility. We yearn for a sense of purpose, for a diversity, and we want to push through all of it to prove ourselves and to get to where we want to be in life. And that destination, the station where our dreams terminate, is usually with true love and protecting that love, because from that comes family. The damsel in distress archetype contains all of the elements that men find important in life. That is why it is such a timeless literary device. And I think that a lot of people forget that being masculine isn't all about being 6'10" and completely shredded, though it does help greatly. But the fact is, some of the most poignant examples of the damsel trope champion men who would be regarded as enthusiastically regular. Becoming the proverbial Prince Charming isn't all about how much you can literally carry, and it's more so how it is that you carry yourself. Tangent over, back to the movie. And Princess Elle is played by Bobby Brown, and just to clarify, I mean Stranger Things Bobby Brown and not the one who slapped Whitney Houston. I know they do look very similar, but I didn't want any confusion. And Princess Elle is the daughter of a lord, but unfortunately the lands in which they rule over are, well, they're in dire straits. No, not that kind of dire straits, the famine and poverty kind. But luckily for Elle, she's a strong, independent woman who don't need no riches.
Carriages full of gold.
That's no reason to marry.
That is, at least, until she sees the size of his castle. And she's like, huh, would you look at that? Go on, yeah, I reckon I can marry this guy. You said it was my duty to my kingdom. Yeah, I've got, yeah, I can do this. Look at the size of that door. It's for my people. So strong, so independent. And it also turns out that she invented the puzzles that you get on the back of cereal boxes. Even stronger, even more independenter. So it's time for the princess to speak with her newly betrothed for the first time, and this being a modern production, that conversation goes, well, just about as you'd expect, really.
But I'd like to know if the person that I'm being guilted into marrying truly likes me or not.
She is without doubt the strongest and the independentest, and I am done with this joke for now. Okay.
My happiness is a small price to pay for the future of my people.
I tell you what, there's nothing like a good bit of acidic conversation to really lubricate a marriage, am I right? Okay.
I actually drew this.
Okay, when she said she'd drawn a heart on the letter, I assume, you know, like a little cartoony love heart. You know, when girls like dot their eyes with the cute little heart. It's all very adorable. But no, this crazy bitch drew an actually atomically correct heart with a maze inside it. By the way, this is now the second reference to a maze that she's drawn, and you would expect this to play a part in the movie somehow. Spoiler alert, that doesn't happen. And they never mention it again. Now, just a quick bit of advice for the guys out there. If a girl does ever send you a letter, and upon that letter, she draws an atomically correct heart, or, you know, just any internal organ for that matter, move immediately to Lithuania. She has your name on a list that she hides under her bed, and trust me, you don't want to know why you're on that list. Just run away.
Hold on, it's a maze, isn't it? I hope that you will get to know my heart. That is very clever.
Oh, really? I wish I knew. I wish I knew you wanted me. Oh, God, no. Whenever I see a girl in medieval garb on a horse, I get flashbacks. And now comes the plot twist that you all already know because it's in the very first line of the description on Netflix. Elle's not just getting married, she is also being sacrificed to a dragon. Now, in the original tale, the villagers would sacrifice livestock to the dragon who dwelled near the well that they use, and eventually they ran out of livestock and started instead sacrificing maidens. Very based. But it wasn't until a princess was then picked as the given sacrifice that St. George stood up and said, hang on, I'm not having any of this. That maiden doth bathe at least once per annum. She clean AF, bro. For real. Or something like that. But in this, you gotta love that Elle's father was, you know, pitching the idea of her marrying this prince. And his main selling point, at least one of his main selling points, was that they have so many sheep, they don't know what to do with them.
Go. See the world. This man, he has a fleet of ships.
I am sorry, I don't speak English. Very good.
You see, it could have just been a sheep. They could have given the dragon a sheep, bing bang boom, no one has to die. But now, why bother sacrificing a single sheep when you can go through all the trouble of importing a lady from a neighboring kingdom, coercing her into marriage, staging that entire marriage? I mean, yeah. Well, when I say it like that, yeah, that's just way easier. Oh, of course, no, I completely understand. So, where did you go for your honeymoon? Did you go to Italy, perhaps? The Caribbean? Syria, maybe? No. My husband threw me down a well. Yeah, it was kind of dark, but, you know, at least I didn't need my passport, eh?
I am the sacrifice. I am the sacrifice.
You gotta love how it took getting thrown down a chasm for her to realise what was going on. They've literally spent the last 5 minutes telling her exactly what's about to happen. They're like, we're gonna sacrifice you now. And she's like, okay. When she's at the bottom of the chasm, even then, it takes her a couple of minutes to realise. She's like, hey, wait just a minute. I feel like this isn't a conventional wedding. So then the dragon pops up and is all like, I'm gonna eat you now, and she starts running away. And in what I can only describe as a baffling pacing decision, the dragon is chasing Elle and then gets her cornered in this little cave section. She's all injured, she's crippled, she's like, it's got it. It's about to hit her with the jet fuel, and then it's like, you know what? I've had a change of heart. Instead, let's slow this whole chase scene down and just let her patch up all her injuries, and you know, we'll just play a bit of hide and seek for a bit, you know. So, you know, the dragon might want to eat her, but at least it's not a dick.
And I don't think that was the worst part.
And then Elle spends the next 5 minutes, but what feels more like half an hour, just falling over. Is this like a new genre I've not heard of? Does it have a following that I'm unaware of? The dirty and prone to falling genre? Is that a thing? Now, princess, there is a dragon inside the cave that you are in, and that dragon is very much trying to find you, and then it's going to eat you. So, if you could try your best to make as little noise as possible, that would be fantastic. Well, you know, you could have been a little bit quieter, but I'm sure that's fine. Oh, would you look at that? She's not fine. Who'd have thought? Yep. Look, I don't want to point any fingers, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say whoever it was that suggested this scene, I'm going to go ahead and say they were a man. No particular reason. Anyway, Princess Elle then finds herself in a section of the cave where past sacrifices have obviously been there before her as they've scrawled their names all down the wall. And it's actually an interesting little touch, as all of these names are notable names from other pieces of folklore and mythology.
Beatrice, Artemis, Genevieve, Fatima.
Well, mostly. Like, well, pretty much every piece of entertainment post, 2016, they've really got to spell it out for you, just to make sure you're always up to speed, even if that means having a character who is alone with no one around them, talking out loud to themselves for apparently no other reason other than, do you get it? Do you get what's happening?
Tree. A map. Now, where am I? Tree. I am here. Tree. How do I escape? Tree. Is this it? Did a princess make it out? Tree.
Then there is this one scene where she's climbing up this rock face that's covered in these like razor sharp crystals, and do you know what? I've actually got nothing bad to say about it. It's a pretty rad looking scene, and not to sound like too much of a cock, but I like the juxtaposition of like the glistening gems that usually signifies wealth and beauty, but in this case they could shred her up and cost her life. Interesting, quite poetic. It's actually, it's quite a cool scene. Had me wincing a little, and that's definitely the idea that we're going for. And I tell you what, it's always funny to see Ray Winston in, well, pretty much anything, because he's the same geezer in every single role. He's always like, oh, look at his eyes. He always talks like this in every single role. Apart from Black Widow, of course, but we won't talk about that.
No one leaves here without my daughter.
What are the odds of him finding his daughter, do you reckon?
I get it,
Because he was on the Bet 365 adverts. Hey, okay, I need to find a new day job. And then brace yourselves for a healthy dose of girl boss revisionism. I just love being so progressive. It's exciting, isn't it? And they flip the original tale of George and the Dragon, which is that George was sick of people being sacrificed, so he went and cut up a dragon. But according to a ghost girl in a cave, what actually happened is the king, instead of being this valiant knight, instead just kills a bunch of defenseless dragon babies and then cries and begs for mercy when the mother turns up. And as a result of his cowardice, he ushers in a perpetual cycle of sacrifice, making the whole situation immeasurably worse. That's really cool. So just to catch you up then, there are three sort of titular male characters in this movie. There's the Lord, Elle's dad, the prince, who she gets married to, and the king from the flashbacks. And one of them killed a bunch of defenseless dragon babies. The other swapped his daughter for a load of gold. And the third threw that same daughter down a well. So men bad? Huh, I've not heard that one before. Well, Elle manages to finally girl boss her way out of the cave, only to find that she's got to go straight back in again to rescue her sister. And who would have guessed? She slays the dragon and they all live happily ever after. Except that's not quite what happens. Because Elle isn't like those other old, mean, nasty men. She instead uses the power of empowerment and spares the dragon and becomes besties with it. I'm not even joking. Cue some epic girl boss dialogue.
It's not me you should fear. This is the end of your story.
Now, I don't know why she's standing there, like she's just been kicked in the spine by Rey Mysterio, but you do you. Slay Queen. I've got to say, taking the legendary tale of St. George and the Dragon and turning it into a story of female empowerment is that's a hell of a decision. After all, nothing says female empowerment quite like plagiarizing a story about a man, swapping the man for a woman, swapping the good guys for bad guys, and calling it a day. Thank you, Netflix. Very cool. Wow, that was pretty cash money of you. Very, very epic. Just one small problem though, because you now got to go home to your village that is still starving. Yeah, kind of forgot about all the poverty and shit. Whoops. And as always, a big shout out to the channel members and the Patreons. Of course, we have the top tiers, the Knights of Law. We have Flunky, Puzzlebon, Infinite Dumdum, David, Jax, Koss, Michael Turpia, Texas Lawman, ATS, Dagger D69, nice, Saint Nemo, Steve the Goat, Michael, Nystagmus, the Grand Admiral, Jordan96, and Satima Kano. To each and every one of the top tiers, I thank you for serving the realm. Of course, tier 2, Saeed, Dr. Melsky, Yarmwich, Hadzu, Kanadogamachi, Marmaiden, Sensei Fang, Mendicant Bias, Agent Mo62, Stu Cheeks, Michael S., Rich Warwick, McLegend Face, Kidnapped Tiger, and Say It. And of course, a big thank you to each and every one of the tier 1s as well. To everyone on this list, you allow me to do what I do, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. And I want to say a big thank you to Corsabon for joining the tier 1. Welcome to the Patreon, my friend. It's very good to have you. And there we go. Another day, another video. Will you join me for my next one? You better do, you little bitch. But until then, take care, and I'll see you very soon.